One of the first things that you need to understand about me is I did not grow up in an ordinary way. My father was a traveling tent revival evangelist. My experience growing up was from one field to the next, setting up a tent, staying a couple of weeks, and moving on. As you can imagine, that was a particularly unique and biased environment, entirely taken up with biblical scriptures and God's message and mankind's sinful condition. It wasn't an easy experience, packing all of the tents and paraphernalia twice a month. One of the hallmarks of my father's evangelistic career was that he was musical. And I grew more bold and asked him when I was 5 to teach me to play guitar like he does, so that I could sing to God's glory too. And that set my feet on the long, inevitable debauchery path. And I grew tired of traveling again and decided in my deep 17-year-old wisdom to finally honor one of my lasting heroes of my early childhood, John F. Kennedy, by joining the service and going to Vietnam. I discovered too late that I had too much of the poet-musician in me and not enough of the soldier-warrior in me. And what wasn't beat out of me in Marine Corps boot camp at Parris Island and infantry training at Camp Lejeune was certainly left sour in my craw to lay there for the rest of my life. I'm not going to burden you with an ill-fitted soldier's sad tale, but sufficient to say I found myself ending up back in Jacksonville in the Naval Hospital for almost a year. And while I was there, I found myself undergoing some major fundamental life changes. And in the middle of all of that, along came a little thing called Woodstock. God, I begged the XO for days to let me have a pass so that I could go to upstate New York and hang out with the hippies. And he just couldn't see it. Anyway, I missed Woodstock, but I was first in line for the movie. And near the beginning of the movie, there was a particularly life-altering, enlightening moment when Joni Mitchell, young, lithe, long hair, slender, slight, and absolutely alone, walked onto the stage with her guitar and stared down a sea of 500,000 people out there. God, what power. And she began to play a song called Wooden Ships. And the song vibrated and rang bells for me at levels that I didn't know I had at the time. convinced me that the rest of my life would be about being in service to music. If you smile at me, I will understand, 'cause that is something everybody everywhere does in the same language. I can see by your coat, my friend, you're from the other side. There's just one thing I got to know. Can you tell me, please, why? Say, can I have some of your purple berries? Yes, I've been eating them for 6 or 7 weeks now. Haven't got sick once. Probably keep us both alive.